Hello, I'm Noah Nerd, and this is going to be a quick tutorial on just how to get Create React app up and running. Super quick tutorial, so I'll try and make this as fast as I can. And then we're going to install some associated packages just so we can set up for a sort of dashboard app, I guess, basically. So if we go to where you want to install the files, go... in this instance I'm using Windows, so I'm going to use PowerShell. Launch my shell environment. Okay, there we go. Type in PowerShell and that. Boot it up. And then I want to go. So let's create React app here. This is how it tells you what commands you need to run it. So let's just go npx create React app. Can't bother to type it. Why bother if I can just copy it? But basically, what's happening there is, just to explain it, is npx create React app is downloading those packages, and then my app gives it a name. So I'm not going to call it my app, I'm going to call it something else. Just copy that and paste. I'll call it dashboard or something. Whatever you want to call it. Then you press enter. This sometimes takes quite a while. But this is the part that takes a while, is usually installing the packages. So it's just created a new folder in there called dashboard. And now I just have to install the npm packages, so this might take ages. The good thing about Create React app is you can just get up and running straight away. And it makes it really easy and simple to get up and running. So let's have a look at what we're going to be installing next. So I want to install Reactstrap, just because. Let's have a look at that. This is Reactstrap. It's basically just Bootstrap in React. So it's useful for creating interfaces quickly, just using pre-made components. I find it very useful for doing layout work with Bootstrap, so laying things out, because it's got you can just use column row. Okay, now I want to go into here. So just open up the directory. I mean, you could also have typed cd, and then I can just run npm start to get it up and going. Before I do that, I'm going to install my dependencies. So I could at this point type in npm start, sorry, and then it'll boot up. But I want to install Bootstrap first, I think. So let's go. So I'm in the directory. I'm going to be in -- save to save it into package.json. I don't think we need React and React DOM, but let's just see. Install those dependencies. Then after this is done, we just need to. So that's all done. Now we need to install Bootstrap for this class style CSS. Definitely need that. It's just loading that in. Then we need to open up our code, Visual Studio. Just get this up. Open folder. Open folder, come on. Dashboard. Select folder. Oh, there we go. So we need to import our CSS into the index.js. It's here in this case, so just put it right at the top. Save that. So I don't know how the terminal open in a minute. You can also do this from the terminal, which sometimes it's easier. You can just integrate a terminal on Visual Studio in this example. So let's just go to app.js where our actual code will be shown, and let's just test. I'm here. And then just press npm start, type in npm start, that should work now. Reactstrap start, it's just booting up. There we go, test, I'm here, there we go. So that's working, I can modify it. So, let's just have a look at creating some basic where is it? Okay. So I want to import in col and row from Reactstrap. And also a button just to test it worked. There we go, button, it's coming up there, which is good. So get rid of header, get rid of all this stuff actually. Don't need it there. Let's just do row. So that creates a new row, col, and then we want to put button. I'm a button. Hello world. See how that's changed. There we go. Maybe we want to add some margin here, and also maybe we want to add a container. So instead of div class, we'll have a div. Instead of div class name app, we'll have container fluid. Which will make a bootstrap. We want to add a margin here. I'm just demonstrating some of these methods. It's not supposed to look posh. So that adds a margin of 4 to the top only. So mt-4. There you go. I don't have to click on refresh to know why I'm doing that. And then maybe if we wanted to center this in a row, we just do, probably not the most elegant way to do this, but I'm just doing it to demonstrate something. So let's have a look and see what's going on. So so you can see I need to center that button if I want it to be centered, but you can see that it's splitting where there's a row, splitting it in 4. Probably make this just a container as well. instead of a container fluid. Actually, I do want a container fluid. Makes it more like full width, basically. So, okay, let's just do hello world. I think it's so that centers that. So what I've done there is enabled flex and then justify the using flexbox. So now it's centered right in the middle. So okay, let's just quickly try and turn this into something that now I've demonstrated that it's actually working. I put hello world instead of world actually. Maybe we're now going to want to create a bit more of a solid layout, so just demonstrate some of the ways you can use call as well. So I can specify this as call MD equals, because if you just put in call, it just automatically sees that as, just automatically makes it whatever it is compared, the whatever width compared to however many calls are in that row. So for example, if it divides into 3, if it's 3 calls in there. But if we want to specify it, we can, up to a width of 12, we can do 5. And MD means for medium-sized devices, basically. So you can specify it across all sorts. And then call MD and call MD2. That should look very different now. Yep, see, it's just sort of, let's maybe make, just to make this even more apparent, let's give it a class, or maybe a border or something. We'll just quickly look for that. So this actually looks a bit more like a, I'm just going to import in, I think I have to import this in as an element. Nav bar, yeah. See what that does. So we've got so what I want to do next is put in a nav bar element of some sort. So you just import in the things in you need in there. I'm just looking at the example on the Reactstrap site, just because it's easiest just to copy it from there, to be honest, rather than manually trying to figure out yourself what you need to import in. So there's that. It's the file we never used because I've not used it yet. And then I want to add this. I'm gonna add, don't worry about too much about this, I don't know. I'm just adding in some props for the behavior. Okay, and then I'm just copying the example from since we were on there. There we go. So now I've got just an example nav bar in there. I'm not going to make it that colour there. I'll go away from that. So don't worry too much about that. Just, I mean, to be honest, whenever I'm using Reactstrap, I just look at the examples, make sure I can get it. You can just modify some of these as well. So you can make it dark to change the colour now to dark. I want it dark here. I'm going to make these. So that is that. If you want to add I'll keep it light for now, just because I'm going to keep it simple. Change the content to something else, like dashboard example. It doesn't have to, and we're not focusing on actual functionality at the minute. It's just sort of more about layout at this point. Okay, so what can we do next? So maybe we want a menu on the side, I guess. So this is a good example of how the layout components work. It's nice and visual. So that's a call that separates out automatically. Call where you specify the width. Call which is half, call 6. So that sort of gives you a good idea. So let's try and maybe we'll just copy one of these examples just because it's. If I just get. If you want, it's what you do most of the time, is just look at these and then just copy and do it that way. So maybe in a dashboard you'd have tables, if you can use that. Let's just try and think of a good way to set this out. So maybe we're going to have maybe just this example table in there. I don't know. Just putting these things in as examples really, and then we'll put that in the the first call. Just table. Just puts the table styling from Reactstrap. Like I was saying before, you don't have to copy this verbatim. I'm just sort of doing this on the fly, as it were, so it's not like this is the only way to do this sort of thing. In fact, all I'm really doing is just get rid of that. Probably want this in a row all of its own, actually. So if I just copy this, I'll get rid of this hello world in a second. I'm just going to show you how fast it is to nicely just copy that into there. I know it's very messy, of course it's very messy, but and then maybe we want a title on top of that, so we'd go the data. Adding a H, shit, not uppercase, H4, uppercase, the data. Okay, so there's data in our dashboard. And then maybe we want, I'm not going to make them, but maybe we want some graphs. So we could do something like another row. And you get the idea. And I want that inside the div because that's a container div there. That's why that was erroring. And call into charts. And then we could do, oh, not that. before. It doesn't look pretty. I'm not trying to make it that pretty at the minute. I'm just basically so what can we put in here? Maybe we'll put in I'll use React.js and put something in there, maybe an example. So, for example, this is probably worth looking at if you want to, for example, install in, I don't know, like a chart from a package. You do that on here in the terminal. So Control C, just shut down the local server for a minute and go npm install React chart. Let me just remember how to type it. Actually, I can't remember what it's exactly called. It's 2. It's 1. So you just have to make sure it's the right package naming. Otherwise, it will just not work. So go npm chart install and save. And then just want to install that package, and then I can use that, and I can use the chart that I've prepared before. What? Okay, added one package. Then we want to import that in. Let's just look at the basics example of it, because I'm not going to spend hours doing this. So I just want a donut, yeah. Shit. Import a donut. I want donuts here, so I'll have 3 donuts, then I'll add some data in a minute. It's just expecting a data object, and I'll just make those up out of thin air because it's more about showing. Okay, I'll just find the example for donut and do it 3 times. So donut example. Just need this data right. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes writing this and trying to do it fast. And then we need to put this somewhere. Put data 1, data 2, data 3, etc. Data 3, data 1, data 2. Data. And you see it comes up there, data 1. It gives you a little reference to say that exists as a variable, which is nice. It's what you want to see when you're coding in Visual Studio Code or any IDEs. Basically, there's picking up on those variables that you've created or objects or whatever it may be. All the joy. You miss one package and then it complains like a mofo. Okay, there we go. So start again. Start. There we go. Give it a message to say it's booting up. There we go. So now I've got 3 charts in there from React.js, just for using the examples. Okay. So, don't know what else can we add to a dashboard, I guess. Got some data in there, charts. Maybe if you wanted to use a good package I've used before is Reactstrap table, which is this is just a standard table, but we might want to incorporate that. Obviously more information and click to action and yada yada yada. But what else can we do? So what have I covered basically? I should go over that. So I've covered installing packages that you might want for a dashboard. Some of how you can, using Reactstrap or a package like that, you can just set out the layout. We've gone into the basics of that, like the using Reactstrap in this instance to set out some layout. I probably want to format this if I was doing this properly as well, because it's a bit messy at the minute, but sort of readable. Usually you wouldn't have all this sort of bulk as well, like the table row and blah blah blah, just because I've created it manually. And then we have data here, donuts with data in. So hopefully that's been a little bit useful, showing how you could really quickly set up a create React app, install some packages, and then start creating something on the page, and how you could also install packages, other packages which can make it a better app overall, I guess, or to install the functionality that you want to use in your app. So I hope that's been useful, and yeah, like or subscribe if you like the video. This one's been a bit like more of a experimental. It's not really a tutorial per se, but yeah. Okay.